Watching the game on Wednesday versus Louisville, all you can ask for is an opportunity to win the game late, and we had a couple great looks late. Had a great look by Mike DeVoe late. Moses had the shot late. We played really well. We're just, as I've said, we're knocking on the doorstep. We just got to be able to get through the door. That's our next step, is to be able to get through the door, and that's kind of where we're at. We just haven't been able to get through the door, but we're at the door. We've gotten better. We just are better than we've been. We've improved. Unfortunately, it hasn't showed up on our record, and I understand, it's wins and losses is what your record is, and that's what makes sports great. There's a scoreboard, but within our process of improving and getting better, we have gotten better, and we just got to stay with it, and hopefully we'll be able to get through the door.
Is it frustrating? I mean, your record could be inversed right now in terms of league play. Like, you could be 6-3 and pretty easily.
Of course. I mean, look, you can always play the what ifs, game on anything. But yes, we easily could be vying for the first place, because really, besides the Syracuse game, a lot of our losses had, could have easily gone the other way. It couldn't have gone the wins. Now, I'm sure NC State might have been saying the same thing against us the first time, or. But the point is we easily could be sitting or trying to be or competing for first place right now, and that's why I'm saying we're at the door. We just got to be able to get through the door, and that's part of being able to, one, finish. Two, Kelly, we got to be able to have areas where we have the lead and be able to, look, teams are going to make runs, but you got to be able to get through that portion of not. Squandering the lead. And then third is just going to come down to ball security and ball toughness. So, and that's going to be a big thing for Saturday, tomorrow night versus North Carolina State. They're very, very good. I think they run good stuff. I think Coach Keats is what he's done at UNC Wilmington, and now doing this at North Carolina State just shows you how good of a coach he is. He's just a great coach, and they've got really, really good players. So, and Markel Johnson's, an all-league guard, and their staff's done a great job, and they're a really good basketball team. They win at Virginia, which is very hard to do, and we're going to have to be really good tomorrow night.
Looking back at that final possession against Louisville, do you have any regrets going?
No, I told Mike and Jose, I said, one of you two, you're taking the shot, and I want to go for the win. So I had no regrets on that whatsoever. And Mike had a great look. The kid backed up, his hands were down. And he had a great look. Just it was he's worked on that shot, 50,000 times in his life. So no regrets whatsoever on that one.
You also mentioned that on that shot by Moses at the end that he has to finish at the basket, but you also mentioned that you'd have to take a look at the film and see whether he was fouled or not. Do you have any? What did you see there?
Well, I thought he probably fouled the guy getting the ball, and then the guy fouled him once he got the ball. So it neglected, negated everything on that, because he probably fouled the guy going for the ball, and then he got fouled getting the ball, so it's just a wash. So in the end, he's got to be able to finish that around the hoop.
When you look at the mental aspects of the game, with the way things have gone in the final minutes of the last 2 or 3 games. Are these kids resilient enough to put that behind them, or does that stick with them?
Well, no. Rod, our guys one thing about our guys have always fought back. The only times we haven't really been able to get back is when Jose hasn't been on the floor. If you look at our first year, at Tennessee, at Duke, our second year when when we didn't have Jose at the Virginia Tech Wake Forest games, like this year. We struggled against earlier in the year, Syracuse or whatever it may have been. Part of that is we didn't have Jose during that time, so that makes that. We've always found ways to get back and give ourselves a chance late, even when we've been down. We're down 14 to Duke, we're down 14 to Virginia. We're down 11 with under 4:30 to go to Louisville, but we got to stop getting down. When I say down, stop getting ourselves in those deficits and holes and behind. That's just what I'm talking about. We got to take the next step as a program. When we're at the door, we got to be able to. If you want to do that, you got to get through the door, and that's going to be the hard part. That's the hardest part of when I talk about when I got the job and said this is going to be a rebuild. It's going to take the full 5 years. But the hardest part is you're digging. You're at the door now. Can you get through the door? And that to me is the hardest part. And we haven't shown that we can get through it just yet. I think we're good enough to, but we're going to have to. Me saying it or the words won't do. It's going to be the actions. I mean, look, we've got the second toughest schedule we've got the 6th toughest overall schedule in the country. I think the 2nd toughest in Power 5 teams. So we've played a monster schedule. We've been challenged. We haven't ducked anyone, but we got to be able to get through the door.
Khalid hasn't played as minutes as Donald said. What's going into that?
Nothing. Khalid's just got to stay ready. I mean, part of it's a lot of it's because I've been playing the 3 guards a lot, and that just Bubba, Jose, and Mike. Part of that's just offensive based. Even better offensively and try to have more those 3 are our best 3 shooters and have more guys on the floor with the shooting stuff.
After the Louisville game, you said that you were doing everything, I think your exact quote was humanly possible to cut down on turnovers. What specifically do you mean by everything humanly possible?
Well, I mean, you're talking. I mean, is the film, drills, running the guys on the turnovers, scoring games based on turnovers. I mean everything you can think of. So no, we're not doing any waterboarding, or we're not doing anything that's inhumane or anything like that. But humanly within, to our guys, we're doing everything that we can to try to correct that problem, and it is a problem. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's a problem. So it's frustrating. I know what every press conference I've been here, I've been talking about the turnovers and this and that, and it's got to take a self-pride, personal accountability to get over, that.
Have you gotten to a point where maybe you can identify a primary source of why guys are turning over the ball as much?
It's the guards. I mean, it's just the guards can't have the turnover. Like last game, Jose has 6 turnovers. That just can't happen. Versus Notre Dame, we had 13 and our guards had 7. Versus Virginia, we had 18, our guards had 9. It's our guards. You take out Virginia, if our guards have 4, well, based on our offensive production, we probably score another basket till we win. Virginia, if you take out our guards that have 9, have 6. Those 3 more possessions, you can score 1 more basket, you might win the game. Versus Louisville, instead of Jose having 6 but has 4, we might win the game. And that's the issue.
It seems like some of them are coming on entry passes in the post that are clearly bad passes. Like the guard should be able to identify the defender's leverage, and it's not a good pass.
What makes Jose great is his toughness and his competitive fire. And he's sort of like Brett Favre. In a sense.
Gunning it.
He's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
And he has that mentality on offense where I'm like, hey man, I don't want you to be passive, but you've got to, with the ball, you've got to be so smart and knowing like the right. And that doesn't mean playing conservative, just playing an easy, but you've got to be really good in those margins. And he and Michael DeVoe. Now Bubba had 0 turnovers last game, 3 assists, but Michael had 2 turnovers and Jose had 8. That's 8 of our. What do we end up with, Moose? 16 or 17? 8 of our 17. That's basically 50%. Again, we've got to stop that. And so, yes, whether it's a post entry or the guy with the ball is responsible. They are responsible with the ball.
Were you disappointed with Bubba not taking a shot in the game? So that seemed kind of an anomaly.
I thought Bubba played well. He just didn't get any looks, but
were they defending him well?
I thought they did a good job on him. But he also did a nice job. He had some rebounds. He had 3 assists, no turnovers. So,
going back to Jose, is it maybe more about letting him know that he doesn't have to make the perfect play, but he has to make the right play?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to hit singles, but hitting singles doesn't mean being just like throwing to the corner guy, and just because he's got to hit singles, meaning he can hit home runs if he wants to, but it's got to be the right play, and it's just
right.
I use he's kind of, again, listen, Brett Favre's in the Hall of Fame, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but you guys get what I'm saying, that type of mentality, that's what makes you great, but it also can drive a coach a little crazy. And so I wouldn't trade him for anyone because he plays so dang hard. You see how good he was defensively at 10 rebounds. It's just, we guys, I don't know what else to tell you. It's the turnovers. And look, we're number one in the pace of play in the ACC for, we're the first time since 2011, our pace of play has been top 100. We're one of the top in the league in 2-point shooting, one of the better ones in 3-point shooting. Our offense is good. Because of that, it's the first time I can say this in 4 years. Because of that, we just got to stop turning the ball over, because probably there's a good chance if we don't turn it over, we're going to score.
By the Notre Dame game, you've talked about getting old, staying old. To me, that seems like kind of the turning point where you have an old team. You guys are seniors, juniors, or rising juniors that are in your core group of players. Is that when you expect to see kind of that moment turn?
Well, Kelly, we're at the door. I can tell you, there's early on in my, first year or two or last. Sometimes we played on some opponents and you're thinking we just look like mid-major team. That team's an ACC and we don't look like we're ready for that. If that makes sense. And that's nothing against our guys. I just knew it was going to take us time. I just believe when you're older, you're going to be able to be more fit into the league. And we're older this year. And so I think that's part of the plan, is that we're older, and that's allowed us now, okay, there's not that much separation. When I say separation, we still have no margin for error, and that's because of the turnovers things, but we can go into any game and have a realistic chance winning. I don't know if you could have said that at any other time. But you're at the door, and I'm just telling you, the hardest part now, Kelly, is getting through the door. And I've got to do one heck of a job to get us through the door, because it's not going to. I mean, look, the players play the game, and I coach, but me, it's going to, in a stat, we've got to find a way to help these guys get through the door. And the guys got us to the door. Now we got to help them. Me as a head coach, and I take full responsibility. We've got to find a way to get us through the door. And that's going to be my job and my assistant's job, that we've got to come up with a way to get us through the door. We're at the door now. How do we get through the door?
When you talk about getting through the door, could that be as simple as getting maybe an extra player or two that can contribute off similar to Louisville?
That's always going to be with recruiting and stuff. But yes, you're always going to continue to recruit and sign good players. But it's also the development part. We got to keep getting guys better. We've got to keep staying old. I think we're old now. How do we stay old so we don't have any dip? But getting through the door more, Rod, I'm saying, okay, how do you beat a Louisville at Louisville when you have a chance to do that? Right. How do you beat a Duke when you have a chance to do that? And I'm using some of those schools because they're the upper. Virginia, who we've obviously, I think, is a blue blood now. The way, as much as they've won over the last, since Coach Bennett's been there. I mean, how do you win? You're there, but how do you get through the door? And that's where we're at. I think, and I got to give Ken all the credit on the road wins, because he's saying that when are you gonna win some road games? And so we've.
I'm wondering when you stop turning the ball.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping I can then give you credit on that. But so we've done a nice job on the road. We have 4 true road wins, right, Moose? 4 true road wins. That's a great step in the right direction. But it's now, can you handle that? Okay, stay with that, but then still try to win some of these upper tier games. And like North Carolina State, we won on the road. We've got to be able to, teams like that, and Louisville. I mean, when you have chances, Duke and Virginia, it's just, that's getting through the door.
One more.
Given the way that a lot of these games, if in that last couple minutes, is there wisdom to that end of trying to find another minute or two for James to be on the bench, or to put?
Yeah, no, I got to look. I want to get Khalid in.
Yeah.
It's just been, and maybe we got to play James some less minutes, and or Moses less minutes. We're just one of those guys, and you go to more 4 perimeter guys. So. And how do I do that? I've got to do a better job of that. It's just sometimes you guys, me well enough. I go with the group, it's rolling, and then all of a sudden we get late in the second half, and it becomes possession by possession. I just go with what we got. Part of the thing with James, I tried that a little bit versus Virginia and Louisville. they were so big, both teams, that I felt when James left, we got hurt a little bit. And I mean, they just, you know, and that's where Moses, that's where I talked about Moses got to be more of the physicality. He's got to embrace that physicality. So Khalid can help us. Shambari can help us. Asante can help us. It's just been, I haven't been able to get those guys the time as of late. We haven't had a lot of margin of error for that. Fortunately, they got time early in the season. I want to get all 3 guys in, Ken. It's just, I haven't been able to do it. And I want to try to get those guys there, or at least start at least 1 of the 3, and then maybe get 2 of the 3, and then maybe 3 of the 3. But it's been easier for me to say that than me actually doing it. I just got to make it happen.